Jack Miller drove home late one night after a long shift as a paramedic. Rain poured down on his old truck as he moved along the empty country road. The farmlands of Nebraska stretched out around him, dark and quiet except for the storm. Jack was tired. He had helped 6 people today, including an old man having a heart attack and a little girl who broke her arm falling from a tree. All he wanted now was to get home, feed his dog Max, and fall into bed. A bright flash lit up the sky. At first, Jack thought it was lightning, but this light was blue and seemed to fall from the clouds. He watched as something crashed into Old Man Porter's cornfield about half a mile ahead. "What on earth?" Jack mumbled, slowing his truck. He pulled over to the side of the road and grabbed his emergency kit from the passenger seat. Whatever had fallen might have been a small plane, and someone could be hurt. Jack turned on his flashlight and walked into the field. The corn plants were tall and wet, soaking his pants as he pushed through them. The smell of burned soil and something strange like metal and electricity filled the air. After walking for about 10 minutes, Jack found it. A smoking hole in the ground held what looked like a small silver pod, about the size of a minivan. Part of it was broken open, showing strange lights inside. "Hello? Anyone hurt?" "I'm a paramedic," Jack called out, moving closer. No one answered, but he heard soft whimpering sounds from inside the pod. Jack climbed carefully over some broken metal pieces and looked inside. What he saw made him freeze. 3 small beings, huddled together in the back of the damaged craft. They had blue skin that seemed almost see-through, large purple eyes that took up most of their faces, and thin bodies that looked like a child's. One of them was clearly hurt, with dark blue, liquid, blood, coming from its arm. The other 2 were making soft crying sounds while trying to help their injured friend. Jack's first instinct was to run away. These weren't human children. They were aliens, actual beings from another world. For a moment, he considered calling the police or the military, but then the injured one looked at him and Jack saw something he recognized in those strange purple eyes. Fear. They were scared, hurt, and far from home. Whatever they were, they needed help. "It's okay," Jack said softly, holding up his hands to show he meant no harm. "I'm here to help." He opened his medical kit and took out some bandages. The aliens watched him with wide eyes as he slowly moved closer. The 2 uninjured ones moved in front of their hurt friend, trying to protect it. "I'm not going to hurt you," Jack said. "Look, I'm a healer, a doctor." He pointed to the red cross on his kit. Somehow they seemed to understand. The aliens moved, aside slightly, allowing Jack to see the injured one better. The cut was deep and the blue blood was flowing steadily. Jack worked quickly, cleaning the wound as best he could and wrapping it with bandages. The material of the alien's skin felt smooth and cool, like touching a dolphin. The injured alien made soft chirping sounds of pain but stayed still. "There you go, little buddy," Jack said when he finished. "That should hold for now." Outside, Jack heard the sound of trucks on the road. His heart raced. If anyone else found these aliens, who knew what would happen to them? They would be taken, away, studied, maybe even hurt. "You can't stay here," Jack said, making a quick decision. "Come with me, I'll keep you safe." He wasn't sure if they understood his words, but they seemed to sense his meaning. The 2 unhurt aliens helped their injured friend stand up. They were small, about the size of 8-year-old children. Jack led them through the cornfield to his truck. The rain had stopped, but the clouds still hid the moon and stars. In the distance, he could see flashlights moving in the field where the ship had crashed. "Hurry," he whispered, opening the back door of his truck. The aliens climbed in, moving, awkwardly but quickly. Jack covered them with an old blanket he kept for emergencies. As Jack drove away, he saw 3 black SUVs parked on the side of the road and men in dark clothes entering the cornfield. His hands shook on the steering wheel. What had he just done? What was he getting himself into? The drive to his small farmhouse took 15 minutes. The whole time, Jack kept checking his mirror to see if anyone was following him. The aliens stayed quiet under the blanket. Once inside his house, Max the dog greeted them with excited barks that turned to confused whines when he smelled the aliens. Jack led the small beings to his spare bedroom. "You'll be safe here," he said, helping the injured one onto the bed. "I'll get you some water and food." The aliens looked around the room with curious eyes. One of them touched a lamp, jumping back when it turned on. Another picked up a book from the nightstand, running thin fingers over the pages. Jack brought them water and some soup he had made the day before. The aliens sniffed at it before taking small sips. They seemed to like it, making soft humming sounds as they drank. That night, Jack couldn't sleep. He sat in a chair next to the bed where the aliens rested, watching their chests rise and fall with breath. They were alive, just like him, but they had come from the stars. In the morning, Jack checked the news. There were reports of a meteor that had crashed, but nothing about aliens. The government had closed off the area for environmental testing. Over. The next few days, Jack learned more about his new guests. He named them Orion, Nova, and Comet because they needed names, and star names seemed right. Orion was the injured one, now healing well. The aliens began to communicate with Jack in strange ways. Sometimes when they touched his hand, he would see pictures in his mind, images of stars, planets, and a beautiful world with crystal towers. They were showing him their home. They also showed him darker images, another ship attacking theirs, the fear as they escaped in a small pod, the crash on Earth. Jack understood they were refugees, running from something dangerous. 1 week after finding them, Jack woke to find the aliens gathered at his kitchen window, looking at the stars with sad eyes. They pointed to a specific spot in the sky, and Jack knew they were showing him where they came from. "I'll help you," he promised, though he had no idea how. "Somehow, I'll help you get home." What Jack didn't know was that by saving these 3 alien children, he had set in motion events that would change not just his life but the future of humanity itself. 2 weeks passed since Jack brought the alien children to his farmhouse. They were getting stronger each day. Orion's wound had healed, leaving only a faint blue mark on his arm. The aliens were learning to communicate better, sending clearer pictures into Jack's mind when they touched him. Jack had been careful. He went to work as usual but rushed home each day. He bought extra food and told neighbors he was looking after his sick cousin's kids to explain any strange noises. So far, no one had come looking for the aliens. One night, Jack sat with the 3 children in the living room. Max the dog had finally accepted the strange visitors and now let Nova pet him. Through their mind pictures, Jack had learned more about them. They were children of important people on their world. Their ship had been on a peaceful mission to meet humans for the first time when they were attacked. "Why would anyone attack you?" Jack asked, knowing they couldn't answer with words. Comet touched Jack's hand. Images flowed into his mind. Their people, the Luminari, had special knowledge of ancient technology. Other races wanted this knowledge. The attackers, called Vraxians, were hunters who caught rare beings to sell to collectors. Jack felt sick. These children had almost been kidnapped to be sold like animals. Suddenly, all 3 aliens stiffened. Their large eyes widened with fear. They ran to the window and pointed at the night sky. At first, Jack saw nothing. Then he noticed it, a faint red light moving among the stars. Not a plane or satellite, something else. "What is it?" Jack asked. Orion touched his hand, sending an image that made Jack's blood run cold. A large ship, the Hunters. They had tracked the children to Earth. "We need to leave," Jack said, jumping to his feet. "Pack some food and clothes, quickly." As Jack grabbed supplies, his phone rang. It was Linda, his friend from work. Linda was a veterinarian who had served as a medic in the Army before coming home to Nebraska. "Jack, something weird is happening," she said, her voice low and urgent. "There are strange people asking questions in town. They look human, but not quite right. They're showing pictures of lights in the sky from 2 weeks ago, the night of that meteor." Jack's heart pounded. "Linda, I need your help. Can you meet me at your cabin in the mountains?" "Jack, what's going on?" "I can't explain over the phone. Please, Linda. It's important. And don't tell anyone where you're going." After a moment, Linda agreed. Jack hung up and hurried the aliens into his truck. They huddled under blankets in the back seat. Max jumped in too, sensing the danger. As Jack drove through the night, he kept checking his mirrors. The roads were empty until he reached the main highway. There, he noticed a black van join the road behind him. "Stay down," he whispered to the aliens, though he wasn't sure if they understood his words. The van stayed behind them for 20 miles. Jack took a sudden exit, and the van followed. Now he was sure they were being followed. Jack knew these roads well from hunting trips with his father. He turned onto a dirt road, then another. The van kept following. Jack drove faster, dust flying behind his truck. Suddenly, the road forked. Jack made a split-second decision. He slowed just enough for the aliens to understand what he wanted. "Jump out when I slow down," he said, pointing to the right fork and the woods beyond. "Run that way. Linda's cabin is 2 miles through those trees. I'll lead them away." The aliens' eyes filled with fear, but they nodded. When Jack slowed at the fork, they slipped out with Max and disappeared into the dark woods. Jack sped down the left fork, and as he hoped, the van followed him. For an hour, Jack led the van on a chase through back roads. Eventually, he turned onto a dead-end road that led to an abandoned quarry. He stopped the truck and got out, ready to face whoever was following him. The van stopped 30 feet away. The doors opened and 4 figures stepped out. They looked human from a distance, 2 men and 2 women in dark suits. But as they got closer, Jack saw what Linda meant. Their movements were too smooth. Their faces showed no expression. Their eyes reflected light like a cat's. "Where are the Luminari offspring?" one asked. The voice sounded almost human, but with a metallic edge. "I don't know what you're talking about," Jack said, his hands shaking. The leader smiled in a way that didn't reach its eyes. "We tracked their escape pod to your location. We know you have been harboring them. Tell us where they are, and you will not be harmed." "I don't have them," Jack insisted. One of the figures held up a small device that beeped. "He is lying. We detect Luminari biological traces on him." The leader stepped closer. "Humans are not involved in this matter. This is beyond your understanding. The offspring belong to us now." "Children don't belong to anyone," Jack said, standing straighter. "And definitely not to people who want to sell them." The leader's face hardened. "Then you have chosen to suffer." They moved with impossible speed. Before Jack could run, they grabbed him. One placed a small disc against his neck. Pain shot through his body, and he fell to his knees. "We will find what we need in your mind," the leader said. Jack fought against the pain as images flashed through his thoughts. His house, the aliens, the roads he had taken. But just before they could see where he had sent the children, Jack focused on one memory: a camping trip to a lake 20 miles in the opposite direction from Linda's cabin. The leader frowned. "Take him. We will extract the information properly. On the ship." As they dragged Jack to the van, he wondered if the alien children had made it to Linda's cabin. He hoped they were safe. Even as fear for himself grew, he didn't regret his choice to help them. What Jack didn't know was that the children had reached Linda safely, and at that very moment their mental connection to him had grown stronger through their fear for his safety. As the Vraxian van drove away with Jack, the 3 Luminari children joined hands at Linda's cabin. Their combined minds sent a desperate call for help, not just to their own people, but to anyone in the stars who might listen. And somewhere beyond Earth's atmosphere, someone was listening. Jack woke up in a small metal room. His head hurt and bright lights made him squint. He tried to move, but his arms and legs were tied to a chair with strange glowing bands. "The human is awake," said a metallic voice. Jack looked up. One of the not-quite-human figures from the quarry stood watching him. Up close, Jack could see small differences. Skin too smooth, eyes that didn't blink enough, movements too perfect. "Where am I?" Jack asked, his mouth dry. "You are aboard our collection vessel," the figure said. "I am Hunter Zax. You will tell us where the Luminari offspring are hidden." Jack stayed quiet. The room hummed around him. Through a small window he could see stars, actual stars, not through Earth's atmosphere. He was in space. "Your silence Will not help you, Zack said. We have ways to extract information. Another figure entered, carrying a helmet with wires coming out of it. Jack's heart beat faster. He thought of the alien children, Orion, Nova, and Comet, hiding with Linda. He had to protect them. Before you do whatever you're planning, Jack said, tell me why. Why hunt children? Zack tilted his head. The Luminari young are valuable. Their species holds secrets of great power. Many collectors would pay well for them. They're kids, Jack said, not things to collect. Your human morality is not relevant here. Zack nodded to the other figure, who placed the helmet on Jack's head. Pain shot through Jack's skull. He saw his own memories played back like a movie, finding the crashed pod, helping the aliens, driving them away from his house. Jack focused hard on the wrong directions, the lake, anywhere but Linda's cabin. The pain grew worse. He bit his lip until he tasted blood. His mind is strong for a human, said the second figure. He is hiding something. Zack leaned closer to Jack, impressive but pointless. We will find them with or without you. Suddenly, alarms blared through the ship. Red lights flashed. Zack and the other figure looked up. We are being approached, said a voice over speakers. Unknown vessel, Galactic. Concord markings. Zack hissed something in a strange language. Continue the extraction, I will deal with this. He left the room quickly. Jack sat alone with the second figure who adjusted controls on the helmet. The pain started again, worse than before. Jack gritted his teeth, fighting to keep his thoughts away from the children. A loud boom shook the ship. The lights flickered. The figure working on Jack looked worried and left the room, locking the door behind it. Jack pulled against his restraints. They were strong, but the blast had damaged something. One of the glowing bands on his right arm flickered and went dark. He pulled harder and felt it loosen. After several minutes of struggling, Jack freed his right arm. He reached up and pulled off the helmet, then worked on his other restraints. Just as he freed himself, the door slid open. Jack grabbed the helmet, ready to use it as a weapon. But instead of Vraxians, a woman in a blue uniform stood in the doorway. She looked human, with dark hair cut short and serious eyes. Behind her stood two more people in similar uniforms. Jack Miller? The woman asked. Jack stared. How do you know my name? I'm Commander Elena Reyes, Galactic Concord. She holstered a strange-looking gun. We received a distress call about you. The Luminari children reached out. The kids are okay? Jack asked, relief washing over him. They're safe. We have another team retrieving them from Earth. Elena handed Jack a small device. Put this on your wrist, it will help you understand our languages. Jack did as she said. She spoke again, and now her words seemed to translate in his mind. We need to move quickly, Elena said. This ship is carrying other captives. We're freeing them all. Jack followed Elena and her team through narrow metal hallways. They passed rooms like the one Jack had been in. Inside, some were strange beings, creatures with too many limbs, others with scales or fur. The Vraxians are collectors, Elena explained as they walked. They capture rare species to sell. Like a black market for aliens, Jack said. Exactly, and the Luminary children would have been their most valuable prize yet. They reached a larger room where several freed captives waited. Jack had never seen anything like them. One was a tall, thin being with 4 arms and gold skin. Another looked like a giant blue-furred cat standing on 2 legs. You're human, said the gold-skinned being, its voice flowing through the translator on Jack's wrist. From Earth? Yes, Jack said, trying not to stare. The human helped the Luminari young escape, Elena told the others. He put himself in danger to save them. The captives looked at Jack with new interest, some making gestures that might have been signs of respect. More booms rocked the ship. We need to board our vessel now, Elena said. The Vraxians have called for backup. They hurried to a docking area where a sleek ship was attached to the Vraxian vessel. As they boarded, Jack saw Vraxian hunters running toward them, weapons raised. Elena pulled Jack inside as the door closed. The ship detached with a jolt and moved away from the Vraxian vessel. Through a window, Jack watched as Earth came into view, a blue and white ball against the blackness of space. He had seen pictures from astronauts, but nothing compared to seeing his planet from space with his own eyes. "We'll take you home," Elena said, standing beside him. "How do you speak English?" Jack asked. "How do you know about Earth?" Elena smiled. "The Galactic Concord has been watching Earth for decades. Some of us, like me, were born there. We work as liaisons for when humanity is ready for first contact. And that time is now? Not for everyone, but for you, yes." She paused. "The Luminari. Children told us what you did for them. Their parents are important diplomats in our alliance. They want to meet you." Jack thought about his simple life as a paramedic. "This is a lot to take in." "I understand, but you've proven something many in the Concord doubted, that humans are capable of selfless compassion for beings completely different from themselves." She touched his shoulder. "That's rare and valuable." The ship traveled faster than Jack thought possible. Soon they approached a much larger vessel, massive and gleaming white. "The Concord flagship," Elena explained. "This is where you'll meet the Luminari delegation." They docked with the larger ship. When the doors opened, Jack's heart jumped. Standing there with two tall blue-skinned adults were Orion, Nova, and Comet. The children rushed forward when they saw Jack. They surrounded him, their small hands touching his, sending feelings of joy and gratitude into his mind. "They haven't stopped talking about you," said one of the tall Luminari, stepping forward. "I am Ambassador Lyra, and this is my partner, Ambassador Vega. These are our children. You saved them when we could not." Jack knelt to hug the children. "I'm just glad they're safe." "They tell us you faced the Vraxians to protect them," Ambassador Vega said. "Such courage is rarely seen, especially from a world not yet part of our alliance." "Anyone would have done the same," Jack said. Both ambassadors made a sound like gentle laughter. "No, Jack Miller," Lyra said. "Very few would have done what you did. And for that, we owe you a debt that cannot be repaid. But we would like to try." Before Jack could ask what they meant, a medical team approached. One of them scanned Jack with a small device. "He has injuries from the Vraxian extraction," the medic said. "We should treat him immediately." As they led Jack away to the medical bay, he looked back at the children. Comet touched his hand one last time, sending an image into Jack's mind, a future where Jack stood among the stars. Something was different about him in the image, something better. Jack didn't understand what it meant, but he knew his life would never be the same again. Jack lay on a strange bed in the medical bay of the Concord ship. The room was clean and white with soft blue lights. Doctors with different colored skin moved around him. Some looked almost human. Others had extra eyes or arms. They placed a clear mask over Jack's face. "Breathe normally," said a green-skinned doctor. "This will heal the damage from the Vraxian mind probe." Jack breathed in sweet-smelling air. The pain in his head faded away. He felt better than he had in years, like he was 20 again, not 38. After an hour of treatment, Elena Reyes returned. "How are you feeling?" she asked. "Amazing," Jack said, sitting up. "What did they do to me?" "Basic healing," Elena said. "The Concord has medical technology far beyond Earth's. The Luminary ambassadors are ready to see you now." Elena led Jack through wide hallways. Beings of all shapes passed them. Some nodded to Jack with respect. "Word has spread about what you did," Elena explained. "Protecting children of any species is honored in the Concord." They entered a large room with windows showing the stars. Ambassadors Lyra and Vega waited with their children. The room also held a table with strange fruits and drinks. "Jack Miller," Ambassador Lyra said, coming forward. "We hope you are recovered." "I feel great," Jack said. "Better than before, actually." "Good," Ambassador Vega gestured to the table. "Please join us for a meal." They sat together. The children stayed close to Jack. Through their touch, they shared feelings of happiness. Jack tried the alien food. Some tasted like honey, Others like spicy. Oranges. We have discussed your actions at length, Lyra said. Few beings would risk themselves for children not of their own kind. As a paramedic, I help anyone who needs it, Jack said. That's my job. But we were not at war with the Vraxians, Vega said. You had no duty to our children. You chose to help when you could have walked away. Jack looked at the three small faces watching him. They were scared and hurt. That was all that mattered. The ambassadors exchanged looks. We believe such compassion should be rewarded, Lyra said. We would like to offer you a gift. I don't need a reward, Jack started to say. This is not payment, Vega said. It is an honor. Our people are keepers of technology from an ancient race called the Predecessors. They left behind great knowledge before they disappeared. Like a lost civilization? Jack asked. Exactly, Lyra said. One piece of their technology can be shared with worthy individuals. It changes a being, enhances what is already there. Jack frowned. Changes how? Elena spoke up. The Luminary rarely offer this to anyone, Jack. I've only known of 3 cases in 20 years. Ambassador Lyra placed a small crystal on the table. It glowed with blue light. This contains nanites, tiny machines that would become part of you. They would heal your body, enhance your strength and mind, and extend your life greatly. You mean I'd live longer? Jack asked. Much longer, Vega said. Perhaps hundreds of years. You would remain human, but improved. The nanites would become part of you, repairing damage and stopping aging. Jack stared at the crystal. Why offer this to me? Because our children live, Lyra said simply. Because you showed that humans can be more than the conquered believed. Some doubted whether Earth was ready to join the galactic community. And now? Your actions have opened a door, Elena said. Not for everyone on Earth yet, but for a beginning. Jack thought about his life on Earth. His small house. His job. Helping people. If I accept, what would happen? Would I have to leave Earth? No, Vega said. You could return home. But you would be different. You could serve as a bridge between your world and ours, when the time comes for full contact. Think carefully, Elena advised. This is not a small thing. Jack looked at Orion, Nova, and Comet. They sent him images of stars, planets, and endless possibilities. He thought about all the people he had helped as a paramedic. Could he help more as this bridge between worlds? I need time to think, Jack said. Of course, Lyra agreed. Rest tonight. Decide tomorrow. That night, Jack stayed in a comfortable room on the ship. Through the window, he watched Earth spin slowly below. Everything he had ever known was on that blue planet. His parents' graves, his few friends, his dog Max, now with Linda. Jack thought about the patients he had saved over the years, the car crash victims, the heart attack survivors, the children he had helped deliver. He became a paramedic to make a difference. Could he make a bigger difference now? In the morning, Jack made his decision. He met with the ambassadors again. I accept your gift, he said, not for the long life or the strength, but because if I can help bridge our worlds, I should try. The ambassadors looked pleased. A worthy answer, Lyra said. The procedure happened that afternoon. Jack lay in a special chamber while the crystal was placed on his chest. The nanites flowed into his skin like glowing water. He felt warmth spread through his body. Then a deep sleep took him. When Jack woke, 3 days had passed. He sat up slowly, expecting pain, but felt none. Instead, he felt stronger than ever. He could hear the soft hum of the ship that was too quiet for normal ears. He could see tiny details across the room. The integration was successful, Elena said, entering the room. How do you feel? Different, Jack said. Better, clearer. Elena handed him a mirror. Jack looked the same, except his eyes now had small flecks of blue in them. The only visible sign, she said. Otherwise, you appear normal. Over the next week, Jack learned about his new abilities. He could heal from injuries within minutes. His mind worked faster. He could remember everything perfectly. Most surprising was his new sense. He could feel energy and sometimes glimpse things beyond normal human perception. The predecessors could see multiple dimensions, Lyra explained. You have a small piece of that ability now. After 2 weeks, on the conquered ship, it was time for Jack to return to Earth. The Luminari children cried in their way, sending sad feelings through their touch. We will see each other again, Jack promised them. Before leaving, Jack met with the Conquered Council. They explained his new role. Earth is not ready for full contact, said the council leader, a tall being with silver skin. But it will be someday. Until then, you will be our eyes and voice there. We will prepare the way, starting with key individuals in your governments. And the Vraxians? Jack asked. They have been warned, Elena said. Earth is now under Concord protection. They will not return. Jack's last night on the ship, he stood with Elena looking at Earth. It looks so small from here, Jack said. But it's all they know down there. Was it the right choice? Elena asked. Accepting the gift? Jack watched the blue planet turning. I think so. Things will change for them soon. They'll need someone who understands both worlds. The next day, a small ship took Jack back to Earth. They landed near Linda's cabin in the mountains. The ship was cloaked so no one else could see it. We'll be in contact soon, Elena said as Jack stepped out. Remember, move slowly. The world isn't ready for everything at once. Jack nodded. As the ship rose silently and disappeared, he walked through the trees toward Linda's cabin. He could hear Max barking inside, already sensing his approach with a dog's intuition. Jack smiled, feeling the nanites humming in his body and the new awareness in his mind. His life as just a paramedic was over. Something much bigger was beginning. 5 years passed since Jack returned to Earth. Much had changed, but slowly, as Elena had advised. Jack still lived in his farmhouse in Nebraska, but he had built a special room hidden in the basement. Inside was equipment from the Conquered, AE communication system, medical devices, and data screens showing galactic news. He still worked as a paramedic too. His enhanced abilities made him even better at saving lives. His body didn't tire. His mind could calculate medicine doses instantly. His hand stayed steady in any crisis. People in town called him Magic Hands Miller because no one died on his watch anymore. Linda knew Jack's secret. After he returned from space, he had to explain everything to her. She had cared for the alien children and deserved the truth. Now she helped Jack with his mission. As a vet with military training, she understood the need for secrecy. In these 5 years, Jack had met with world leaders, scientists, and important people, all in secret. The Conquered wanted Earth prepared before full contact. Jack and other hidden helpers were laying the groundwork. Tonight, Jack sat on his porch with Max, who hadn't aged a day since the nanites in Jack's blood had started healing the dog, too. The summer air was warm and stars filled the clear sky. Jack's special sense, the gift from the Luminari, let him feel more than see that a ship was coming. He stood up, watching the empty sky where normal eyes would see nothing. Minutes later, a shimmer appeared as a Concorde shuttle uncloaked. It landed softly in his field. Jack smiled as the door opened and 3 figures stepped out. Orion, Nova, and Comet had grown. They were taller now, still blue-skinned with large eyes, but their bodies were longer, more like teenagers. They ran to Jack, touching his hands and face, sending feelings of joy and love. Behind them came Elena Reyes, now a high commander in the Concord. Jack, she said, hugging him. Good to see you. You bring news? Jack asked, sensing something important. Elena nodded. The council has voted. It's time for the next phase. They went inside Jack's house. On his kitchen table, Elena spread out digital maps and documents. 3 more ships will arrive next month, she explained. They'll land in different countries. We'll introduce clean energy technology first, ways to help Earth's climate problems. The leaders I've been meeting with are ready, Jack said. They understand this has to be handled carefully. People will be scared, That's why you're so important, Elena said. You're the bridge. You understand both sides. The Luminary children sat listening. Through their touch, they shared images. With Jack, cities on their world, beautiful crystal buildings under 3 moons. Your parents? Jack asked them. Orion sent an image of Ambassador Lyra addressing the Conquered Council. She was arguing for more help for Earth. Some council members thought humans were too violent, too divided to join the galactic community. Lyra disagreed. She pointed to Jack as proof of humanity's potential. They still use you as the example, Elena said, seeing Jack's reaction to the shared image. The human who risked everything for children not his own. Jack looked down. I just did what was right. That's why it matters, Elena said. Now let's discuss the plan for next month. They talked late into the night. The alien technology would be introduced as a new Earth discovery. A few scientists who knew the truth would pretend they invented it. Clean energy first, then medical advances, then better food production. Slowly, people would accept the changes. In 3 years, if all went well, the truth would be revealed. Earth would officially join the Concord. And the Vraxians? Jack asked. Any trouble from them? Not for Earth, Elena said. But they're still hunting rare species in distant systems. The Concord is working to stop them. After the meeting, Elena took the children back to the ship for the night. Jack stayed outside looking at the stars. His enhanced vision let him see more stars than normal humans could. His special sense let him feel the connections between worlds. The next morning, Jack got a call from his paramedic station. A bad accident on the highway needed all available medics. He drove there quickly. The scene was terrible. A bus had crashed into several cars. People were badly hurt. Jack worked for hours, using his enhanced abilities carefully so no one would notice anything strange. He saved 17 lives that day. When he got home, tired but satisfied, Elena was waiting. You could have healed them all instantly with Conquered technology, she said. Why do it the hard way? Because that's not the plan, Jack said. Changes have to come slowly. And I'm still a paramedic first. Elena smiled. This is why the Luminary chose you for the gift. You understand what matters. Over the next month, Jack helped prepare for the big changes coming. He met with more officials, explained what would happen, how to handle public reaction. On the day of the landings, Jack watched from his home as the news reported strange energy readings in America, China, and Kenya. Within hours, the world was buzzing with reports of new technology discovered by scientists. The Luminary children stayed with Jack for these events. They had become something like family to him. Through their mental connection, they helped him understand the reactions around the world. 2 weeks after the landings, Linda arrived at Jack's house with important news. It's working, she said excitedly. The clean energy plans are being shared globally. Countries are actually cooperating. Jack nodded, pleased but not surprised. The Conquered predicted this. When faced with advanced technology, humans will work together to understand it. That night, Jack received a special message from Ambassador Lyra. Her face appeared on his communication screen. Jack Miller, she said formally. The Council has voted to name you Earth's first official representative to the Conquered. In 3 years, when full contact happens, you will stand for your people. Jack felt the weight of this honor. I will do my best, he promised. As the ambassador's image faded, Jack stepped outside again. The night was clear, stars shining brightly. Somewhere up there were countless worlds with beings of all kinds. Soon, humans would know they weren't alone. Jack thought back to that rainy night 5 years ago, when he found 3 scared children in a crashed pod. One simple choice to help them had changed everything, not just for him but for all of humanity. His enhanced body would let him live for centuries. He would see Earth change, grow, join the stars. He would watch humanity overcome its divisions and become part of something greater. The reward for his compassion wasn't just his enhanced life or abilities. It was the chance to help guide his entire species toward a better future. A future where humans would be known not for their wars or greed, but for their capacity to care for others, even those different from themselves. Jack smiled at the stars. The universe had indeed rewarded him beyond imagination, but the greatest reward was knowing that sometimes the simple choice to help someone in need could change everything.